Hey everyone,
Hello,
this is Blood and Wine.
I'm Brittany,
I'm Tyler.
and this is our part three
Yeah.
of 2018 Year in Review.
So this is the final part where we
Yes.
cover episodes 21 through like 32 or something like that.
Something like that. I think
however many we
30.
had in
I
2018.
don't remember, to be completely honest.
It
We'll
was
stop
an amount.
whenever our list stops.
Yeah.
But one thing that we do want to announce, if you want to look at my shirt.
My God, is that official Blood and Wine
We
merch?
have merch.
Yes.
So we have everything from like t-shirts and sweaters to totes, hats, mugs.
Water
There's
bottle,
an
dog
amazing
bandana,
tank top, hoodie. There's
All the
so many
things.
different options, even a pillow. So
Yes.
hop on over to our website, bloodandwinepodcast.com. Check on our store link in the top nav, and you will have yourself some merch quickly. Shipping
Yes.
is fast.
Yeah, like
It's
you
so
ordered
fast.
that on what, Tuesday?
I ordered this on Tuesday. It's Thursday, and I've already got it. And
Yeah.
I didn't do like expedited, none of that. I just did standard shipping.
So when they say
fast.
like 2 to 4 days, that they mean that.
They mean like literally 2 to 4 days.
Yeah.
Or 2 days.
Well, yeah. So, I guess that's our big announcement for this one.
That is our big announcement. And
and-
it's just so exciting because I
It
know
is.
people have been wanting merch. We've been wanting merch for a while, and it feels so cool to finally be wearing our logo on a shirt.
Yeah.
I plan to be wearing this out. And also for our Patreoners, you guys, this is going to be in our episode that's coming out next week, but we wanted to announce a little special
Stickers.
something for you. You
Yeah.
want to announce it?
Yeah, we are. Actually, I'm going to go get the stickers.
Oh,
I'll
yes.
be right back.
Okay, so while he's getting the stickers, I will go ahead and give the announcement. For anyone who is a Cabernet Sauvignon convict, which is our top level tier, we're going to be sending you, for those that are existing and for all new Cabernet Sauvignon convicts, so tell your friends, or upgrade if you are very interested in this, but we're going to send you this exclusive Blood and Wine sticker. These are vinyl, and so like they don't tear. They're really nice. We've got them on the back of our laptops. They fit perfectly. Good size. It'll fit on the back of like an iPhone 8 Plus, like the big sized one, or not the Google because of the spot on the back.
Yeah, I have a little finger thing. But an iPhone, it will.
But it'll fit on an iPhone. So we'll be sending these to everyone, like I said, who is a Cabernet Sauvignon convict.
Yes.
They are limited edition. We're not ordering more. We only have a few.
A few.
We
It's a little more than a few, but we only have
We only
one.
have this order.
Yes.
So, yeah. But that's really exciting to get the stickers. I
know.
I love having them.
I know. Sorry if that was really loud. I forgot that our mic picks up things like that, and I just slammed the stickers down.
Yes. Also, we have our
This little Russian hat
thing going on.
This is our ASMR podcast video. Hello. Today.
Stop it. That's so gross. I don't even want to know what that sounds like.
Sorry.
But anyway, so it's our pop filter, and I have never seen one that's like furry like this until we found it on Amazon,
And then we were like, we have to get this one because it's ridiculous.
and we love it.
It works really well. Much
does.
better than the sock.
Yes, we had a sock. Was that in the last video?
I think so.
I think it was as well. So anyway, but do we want to go ahead and jump into episode 21?
Yes. So episode 21 was
a
abduction
really,
murders.
Really heavy episode.
Yeah. And my case was James Bulger. He was the little, I think he was 3 years old, from England.
Yeah.
He was kidnapped from the mall by
Oh, and there's that
Robert
photo.
Thompson and John Venables, who were also, they were like 10.
Yeah.
And tortured, brutally murdered. And that was not a fun case to do at all.
No, it wasn't at all.
And fun fact, I guess, there's a like a short film, or I don't think it's technically a documentary because I think it's has actors and stuff about this called Detained, that was just nominated for Best Short Film for the Oscars.
Wait, oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, it's an Irish film.
I wanna
It has a
watch
lot
that.
of controversy right now, actually, because James Bulger's parents are very upset about it, that it tries to like humanize John Venables and Robert Thompson. And that's, I could see both sides.
They were
but
kids
they were
too.
also 10, so.
They should have been responsible enough to know, not to do what they did. But,
yeah.
Anyways, and mine was the Mount Vernon slayings in Ohio.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the guy, Matthew Hoffman.
The leaf guy.
Who, yes, he collected leaves. He had leaves in his neighborhood. But he ended up killing, I want to make sure I get all of their names right, Tina Herman, who was the mother, Cody Maynard, her son, and Stephanie Sprang, which was her mom's friend. Mm-hmm. And Sarah Maynard survived it.
She was kidnapped.
Matthew kidnapped her, was keeping her in his basement, and he ended up taking the body parts. He dismembered her family members and her mom's friend, put the body parts in a tree trunk.
So fucked up.
And it's just, there's a Sword and Scale episode on this one that if you want all the gory details, I shared a lot of them, but unfortunately there are even more. But it was just horrifying, this tiny community, what he did. And it was like, I think he was like robbing the house or something. Yeah,
I think he had been like stalking the house and planning on robbing it.
But then when they were home. Yeah. Ugh. So, and he didn't know what else to do but kill them.
Which there's so many other options, like running away.
Yeah.
Or not robbing the house in the first place.
Yeah.
But
that one was rough. Well, episode 22, Revenge Killings.
Yes, revenge.
This one, I did Jodi Arias.
Yes.
And that was the death
The one that I should have known of, but I didn't.
Yeah, when she killed her boyfriend, Travis Alexander. And this was an interesting one because, like, her story kept changing. She shot him in the shower. She had photos of the murder scene.
It's horrifying. The last photos of him where he's like looking straight at the camera.
It's so terrifying.
Horrifying.
So yeah, that one was rough.
Yeah.
Because what the suspected motive is that she was this jealous lover. He was taking someone else on a trip and she spun out.
Ugh. Ew. So my case for this episode was the Uberlingen air crash and the murder of Peter Nielsen. And this one was real interesting because it was one I'd known about for a while because of the show Seconds from Disaster on National Geographic. Which is, it's a show about just like disasters and stuff. So they do like plane crashes or building collapses, things like that.
This was an interesting spin on that.
Yeah. So this one, when I thought revenge killing, I immediately thought of this because... So this was a case where two planes, one an airliner, one a cargo plane, due to miscommunication and cultural differences in listening to either the air traffic controller or the TCAS system in the plane, they collided and were cut in half and everyone on all of them died.
So scary.
And on the passenger jet was the family of Vitaly Kaloyev. And he lost his wife and two kids and later stalked and tracked down Peter Nielsen, who was the air traffic controller, and just murdered him in front of his family. Yeah. And is now like a celebrated politician in Russia. Which is...
gross.
Yep.
Absolutely gross.
So, speaking of absolutely gross, episode 23, Buried Alive. This was Jeremy's pick.
Yes, this was Jeremy's pick.
And it was a good pick. Like,
it was a
intense
fantastic
episode.
Pick. Like, that one was... your case...
My case was Nevaeh Buchanan, who was this little girl who just disappeared after playing outside of an apartment complex. Her apartment complex disappeared, and she was found buried in concrete. And the way she had been buried and the concrete poured, she was alive when it was done. And she was just this, like, 7-year-old girl who... Yeah. Ugh.
Well, and mine was about businessman Stephen Smalls in Kankakee, Illinois.
Yeah, the dumb people who thought a tiny-ass pipe could be fine.
Yeah, thought that, like, a straw-sized, like, tiny little pipe, whatever, he's 20 feet under... Or there was, like... he was 6 feet under, or maybe 11, and then the pipe was wound
yeah.
like they thought he could survive buried under there, and he didn't.
It's not how air works.
It was his killers were. Stop moving it up. This blocks it.
Oh.
Danny Edwards and Nancy Risch. Sorry, we're looking at the same notes, and he keeps moving it. And
it's because
I couldn't see it.
Maybe.
I just want to make sure I get the names right. But anyway, so that one was really rough.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And absolutely terrifying.
Yes. And yeah. I don't know.
The next one, Stalkers Who Kill.
Yes.
This was an intense episode.
We had a string of real intense episodes here.
We did. Oh, this was the string. Because mine was the case of Mary and Beth Stauffer.
Oh, my God. And the mother and daughter, the teacher.
Yeah. Ugh. Ming Sin Shui kidnapped her. He was one of her former students that held, a grudge against her. And
crush grudge.
Anyway, and thankfully they survived. Mary and Beth survived, but just to what degree? Like, their lives were changed forever. Like, all the torment that they... it was that was bad.
God. And my case was the famous John Hinckley Jr. case.
Oh, yeah, that you've been wanting to do for so long.
I know, I've wanted to do this for a long time. So when it finally, the topic
opportunity arose,
I was like, yes. So John Hinckley Jr. was the guy who tried to kill President Ronald Reagan to impress Jodie Foster, who he became obsessed with after he saw her in Taxi Driver.
Yep.
Still haven't seen it.
Yep. No, I still haven't seen Taxi Driver either.
And was stalking her, to the point where she knew him because he went to the same. He heard where she was going to school and was like, "I'm going to go to that school."
Which is just so creepy.
He did this to impress her. Horrifying.
Did not impress her. She had to take the stand and didn't even know this guy.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I'd ever really heard that story. I had never heard of that case until you brought it up to me, and so I didn't know all the details involved. But
yeah, he wound up killing Brady, he wound up paralyzing Brady, who later died, I think, 30 years later, but due to complication from the gunshot, so he did just a delayed murder charge.
Yes.
And that's what spawned the Brady Bill.
Yes, which that's
mandatory waiting laws to purchase firearms and stuff, I believe.
No, maybe there's multiple Brady laws, because one Brady is not holding information away from the prosecution.
Different Brady laws.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because that's Brady as well.
Okay.
I've brought it up in many episodes.
Oh, I clearly paid a lot of attention.
Yeah. Anyway.
So the next one was our Halloween special, episode 25, Haunted House Murders. Fun. Okay, sure.
Well, it was because, you tell your case and I'll tell mine.
So mine was the Amityville house. This one,
fun. I realize my word choice is poor, but...
this topic was actually a little difficult for me, because I knew of the house Brittany did. Other than that, I was like, oh, what do I do? Because there was one case I really wanted to do. It was in, I believe, New Jersey. And it was a bunch of teenagers were at a fair or something. Anyway, they were in a haunted house. And the haunted house caught fire. And I think 5 teenagers died in the fire. And I thought it was arson. But when I started researching that case, it turns out that most believe that it was an accident, someone using a lighter to look around in the dark, or
yes, that's
something like that. So I was like, well, it wouldn't really fit the theme. So
and
as far as murder, and so I didn't do that. So I did the Amityville house, which I've never seen the Amityville horror.
Oh, I haven't either. I've never seen
this house other than by name, but I thought it was just a horror movie. I didn't know it was an actual thing. But DeFeo, John DeFeo just straight up murdered his whole family in their sleep, and just was blaming his sister. And as more and more stuff came out, it's like, holy shit, this dude just murdered his family.
Yes. And mine was the Lalaurie Mansion, which is about Madame Lalaurie and all the slaves that she was holding captive and torturing in her home. And the degree of truth to the tale is up for interpretation. There are, a lot of stories have been told, so the brutality has been intensified, and the house is declared haunted. However, it is true that Madame Lalaurie did live in that mansion, and that she did imprison her slaves and tortured them. But some of the details as far as removing appendages and sewing them in places where they don't belong, sewing mouths shut, are potentially not true, but we don't know, and we don't know how many bodies were actually found on the property.
I know.
But
fun fact: I am going to New Orleans
tomorrow.
Yes, not for this, just for fun, because dear fucking God, I need a vacation.
Yes,
but I'm gonna get pictures if you remind me.
I will. I
Mansion.
I want you to get mansion pictures. Pictures.
You want me to get the mansion? Just buy it outright.
Buy the mansion.
I don't think I can afford it. Patreoners, if you want to help us buy a mansion, buy the Lalaurie Mansion.
That's the one we're gonna get.
That is what the money goes to, is to buy a haunted mansion / school / war hospital / whatever the hell it was. It was like 6 different schools. It was a lot of things. Nicolas Cage's old home.
Yes. Now it's just like privately owned, and I don't know. So
I wonder if they Airbnb it out.
No, I don't think they do.
Why not? Do you know how much money they could get if they Airbnb'd out the Lalaurie Mansion?
Yeah.
Also, it sounds like I'm staying on this topic.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It sounds like the kind of place that it was huge, and why was it not a hotel? Especially now.
Because it's haunted.
Yeah, I know, but it's also New Orleans, and the Cecil is in LA.
That's true, but that was always a hotel.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. Whatever.
I'm just saying. I know you want to do the Cecil. Would y'all be interested in hearing that one?
I know.
A really interesting case.
That one
creeps me out. Yeah. Oh, it creeps me out.
I guess I could have done that one for this, but then this episode might have been a little too American Horror Story.
Maybe.
But who knows?
So the next topic was actually also really creeps me out. It was wrongfully convicted murders.
Creeps out for a very different reason.
Very, very different reason. So the case I did was David Cam.
It's like our background cop music. If y'all can hear the
if you can hear the sirens. There's something going on outside. But it's oddly fitting because this victim of being wrongfully convicted was an ex-cop. His name is David Cam. He was convicted of killing his entire family.
Oh, my God.
And he spent... Oh, goodness. It was between 11 and 14 years. What?
Oh, goodness. Golly gracious.
It was between 11 and 14 years in prison, I believe. And Charles Boney was identified as the victim. And
he was the one who, had a shoe fetish or something. Didn't he have a shoe fetish? And that's why he put the shoes, on the... He made a point to put their shoes on the car. It was fucking weird.
He did. It was really weird. And, he's in prison now. David Cam is out. But at the same time, he's lost everything. He lost his family. Yeah. His wife's family believes that he is guilty and wants nothing to do with him. And so it's like he's free, yet he's still, I don't know.
Yeah.
He's free, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It does.
It does but
matter. But what
cost, I get. That's not the right phrase, but...
He still lost everything.
Yeah. So my case in this one was Juan Rivera.
Yeah.
He was accused of murdering Holly Staker, who was an 11-year-old babysitter who was raped and murdered. And I believe this one was in Illinois. And it was just very brutal. Juan Rivera was someone who I believe he had some fairly severe mental difficulties or mental disabilities.
Yeah.
And was an easy target. And I think the big thing they pinned him on was a person or maybe his cellmate when he was in prison said that he confessed to it. And I'm like, what?
They had no evidence.
But he was his conviction was finally overturned in 2011 after being in prison since 1993, which is 18 years. He was in prison for 18 years for something he didn't do, which is just horrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. It really is. Oh, what was our next episode?
The next episode was our first one where we, specifically the theme was outside of the country. So this was serial killers in Ukraine.
Oh, yeah. Yours was absolutely horrible.
Yeah, both of them were.
Oh,
and so my case was the Dnipropetrovsk maniacs.
Yeah.
They were two 19-year-olds, Viktor Sayenko and Igor Suprunyuk, who murdered at least 21 people in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
That is a person per day, but they murdered, they grouped them and stuff. Anyway, fucking insane. They were the ones that had the videos of it that got uploaded online that are, again, I still strongly do not.
Don't look it up.
Don't look it up. You don't want to see it because it's real brutal, but also out of respect for the victims and their families, don't
look it up.
Don't.
So,
you can get the idea. I mean,
you just need to hear Ty's story, and it's enough.
Horrifying.
So my Ukraine killer was Sergei Tkach, and he killed so many women in different cities, and he moved around, and he was like an investigator for the police, and he was caught doing something wrong with some cases, and they were like, well, you can quit. And so he's like, okay.
Bye.
He quit. He goes to a different city and like gets the same job or whatever. He killed so many people, very brutal rapes and murders, and he was caught, convicted, and ended up marrying while in prison a young. Look at the beautiful decanter that we're using. It's
this is where I drop it and break it and cry.
and we have to start the video over.
No, we're just going to continue with me crying.
But anyway, so his wife is a very young woman who is the same type of woman that was his victim.
And she's like proud of that.
She's proud of it. She says that she would have helped him bury the bodies if she had been around at that time. I believe she's pregnant with their child because they get conjugal visits. And it's just an all-around really weird, creepy story of why you... Give me a little more.
Yeah, I know.
We're pouring out the rest from the decanter because that's what we do, apparently.
Well, I mean, Also, I'm just saying, when a decanter is shaped like this, it's kind of hard to get, and it's here and you're like, come on! So, you have to kind of just upend it.
Yes. So, anyway, serial killers in Ukraine. There are some really crazy people in Ukraine. I like crazy killers.
Yeah. I mean, there's crazy
insane
killers.
Killings and...
There's crazy killers and killings everywhere, though.
That's true.
That's
true.
That is one thing we haven't done. We have not done a country topic in a hot minute.
No, we haven't. It's time to do another. But speaking of some really fucked up killers, our next episode 28,
God.
We did this one for Thanksgiving. It's our longest episode.
Yeah, it wasn't for Thanksgiving themed. It was because
we knew y'all were
everyone's going to be traveling. People listen to podcasts and they travel. Let's give them everything.
So this was infamous serial killers Ted Bundy and John Wayne Gacy. I did Ted Bundy.
Yep.
Speaking of Bundy, by the way, Confessions of a Killer, the Ted Bundy tapes, just released on Netflix today. Oh. We are recording this instead of starting it, to be honest, as soon as I'm done with this. Or we're done with this. I don't know what he's doing.
I'm here too.
I don't know what he's doing.
I'm packing for New Orleans.
I'm going to go home and watch Ted Bundy instead of going to bed like I probably should. But Ted Bundy...
It's also only 8:30.
I'm tired. Ted Bundy killed upwards of 36 women, and he was really good at what he did and at not getting caught. And when he got caught, about getting away.
Yeah.
He killed in Oregon, suspected in Oregon, definitely Washington, definitely Colorado, potentially Utah, absolutely Florida.
And he was
all over.
Attractive in a basic way.
Attractive, intelligent, charming man.
But he was
who was in
the
politics
way, and the way he was
be a catch,
attractive
right?
was you see attractive people like that every day. So he was so easily able to disguise himself. That freaks me out so much, is that
I know.
because if he had been like one of those people, like everyone turns their heads when they walk by, he's not able to change appearance like that. But I don't know, that's just it's creepy how much of like a normal person he was, other than murdering all of these women.
I know. And so he was in prison in Colorado and escaped. And that's how we ended up going to Florida. And when he was in Florida, there was the Chi Omega killings where he killed 3 women. Was it 3 or 4? I believe he killed 3, injured 1 other. And then there was a woman like down the street that he killed, and like a 12-year-old girl. Like, it was just so much. He ended up getting 3 death sentences, and he was executed in, I don't have the year written down, but it was 90-something.
Yeah, it was the 90s.
I believe we were both alive.
I want to say it was like 96 or something.
That sounds right.
Yep. But who knows?
Anyway, so he's fascinating in a very, very, very creepy way. And I'm also reading The Stranger Beside Me by Anne Rule. I still haven't finished it. Like, I've got to get through that book. It's so good. It's just one of those, I mean, what do I have time to read? But
Fair.
So, tell us about your really
so
messed
my
up
case
serial
was
killer.
John Wayne Gacy, Gacy was this guy who, he was just a pretty average guy. I mean,
Also in politics.
He was in like local politics. He owned some KFC franchises and, had like a wife. And then he moved to Chicago, and he wound up murdering dozens of boys. He would, in like the most horrible ways, he would like drug them, kidnap them, rape them, torture them, murder them, and bury them in his house.
Underneath the crawl space. Or in the crawl space underneath his home.
Yeah. So when police finally found him, or caught him, they got into the house and they kept pulling out bodies and bodies that were so heavily decomposed and skeletonized that there are still victims today that are unidentified.
There are still 6 unidentified victims.
Yeah. There were originally 8, and thankfully 2 have been identified, but there's still 6 remaining.
Yes, and that goes into an episode that we had a little bit further
that we'll touch on in a
down.
hot minute.
We'll touch on it soon. A little more details on that. So, the next one.
Yes, is Cold Valley.
Yes.
So, this one, y'all, this was our first time partnering with Investigation Discovery, and insane. So
it was such an interesting experience, crazy case, like super interesting that they reached out to us.
Well, and getting to talk to Detective Jackie Nichols and Gloria Boberts, who was a family member of Christina Nelson, who was one of the victims of this serial killer. I mean, being able to interview them and see the work they're doing to try to put this man away, and to not just to make sure that he's not going to get away for it.
Yeah. Well, and the Cold Valley special on Investigation Discovery, actually,
so good.
It was so good. And it caused them to reopen a case of an unsolved murder of a young girl in Chicago. So it's just, it's so amazing to have the opportunity to talk to people that are doing this day in and day out. So listen to our interview. It's really interesting. And
it's one one really interesting thing about it is they know who did it. They do. A bunch of circumstantial evidence, they don't have the DNA link.
Yep, for this one guy for multiple murders in the Lewis Clark, which is the Washington-Idaho border.
Yeah, and it, I mean, you can find his name online, but because it's only circumstantial evidence, he hasn't been charged. They legally can't say it in the episode. But
it's easy to find.
It's easy to find, and Gloria, as she says in the episode, is not afraid to say his name.
Nope, she is not.
She's badass. Both of them are. I
Such
fucking love them.
So after we had our Cold Valley special, we
God.
did another really, really big episode with Murders That Shook the Nation. And do you want to go and talk about yours first?
My case was the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman.
Yes.
Who were possibly, because we cannot say for certain because he was found innocent.
Whatever. No.
Murdered by O.J. Simpson.
O.J. did it.
He either did it or was at least very heavily involved.
Yes.
And but just the fact that how much this case gripped the nation, how big of a star O.J. was, and how much evidence there was against him, and yet his defense team, the Dream Team, was able to get him off based on anecdotal evidence.
If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
Having, racist cops in the investigation, which Mark Fullman is a piece of shit.
It turned into...
Furman. Not Fullman.
Yeah, it turned into...
Well, he's shit.
I'm just feeling bad for the person that has the name that you accidentally said.
Sorry, other Mark. Sorry, good Mark, who's a decent person, not shitty racist LA cop.
Yeah.
Mark Furman.
So, the case turned to a case about race and not about the victims. And the victims were so overshadowed. And, Ty really tried in the episode to focus on the victims and not so much on OJ because, guys, there's so much information out there. If you watch the ESPN special that I incorrectly called 30 by 30 in the episode. But if you watch that has the most details I've ever learned about the case and about OJ and who he was and why he was such a famous star during his time, superstar college player, goes into the NFL. Anyway, it was huge.
But yeah, that one still, the fact that people don't know who Nicole Brown Simpson or Ron Goldman are, other than
and it's unfortunately Ron Goldman who is constantly seen as forgotten. It's like the murder of Nicole and her friend, and it's like no, he has a name too, and he was a victim.
Yeah.
The case I did was also very heavy. I did the murder of Sharon Tate, which is the Manson family murders. And they had a total of 9 victims. And this one was very, very difficult to focus on the victims because everything out there is about the Manson family and about how Charles Manson convinced these people to follow him and, had them believe that Helter Skelter was coming and that it was also very racially involved. And the details are so deep that I feel like I very much skimmed the surface and yet still talked for an hour about this case. But it was horrible how Manson convinced people to kill for him, to do anything for him,
to
have sex when he told them to.
Over his followers, over these people is insane. He
created his own community. And it's horrifying. But Manson has passed away. He passed away last year.
Bitch.
Last year, he died of...
it's sad when anyone dies, but bye, bitch.
But when Manson dies, is it really that sad?
Someone dying is not a happy event. I'm just
putting you in between a rock and a hard place.
It's true.
But anyway, so Manson family murders, that was a really, really interesting episode to research.
Yes.
So
next episode 31, Art Heist and Heiress Abduction.
So this one was really fun. I know I said that. Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I just wanted to say that y'all might notice that it is titled Like a Murder Mini, and we did that on purpose because we felt like it, and there was no reason to it. But
this one was when we decided to take a murder break and focus on other true crimes, because there's a lot of true crime out there that is very interesting that doesn't necessarily involve the harm of another person. Well,
and with all the episodes we had been doing that were just heavy, and even when we do Survivor episodes, those are still so fucking heavy and so dark. So it was nice to do something that was I don't know, not as dark. My case was still pretty dark. Yours was not. I mean,
Yours is still
I
pretty
guess
dark.
it for some people yours is, but I'm
Yeah.
like, I mean, that sucks, but
Okay, well, that's someone who doesn't appreciate culture as much. I did the Isabella
Fucking
Stewart
excuse
Gardner
me.
Museum heist, which was, a case in the 90s where two people dressed as security guards robbed the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum of $500 million worth of artwork, from Rembrandts to Vermeers to just...
a Napoleonic little eagle thing that went on a pole.
Yes, there was one of those as well. It's one of those things that it's never been solved. At this point in time, the artwork has probably been
You know who did it?
destroyed. You know who did it?
It was Amelia Earhart. Everything points to it. The eagle represents her plane. The art represents stuff from around the world, which is where she flew. Think about it. Think about it. It's Amelia Earhart.
Anyway, it's one that, they have a tip line that's open at all times if you have any evidence. But I went to this museum. It's stunning. Can't believe it was someone's home that they turned into a museum. Like, you have a home big enough to also have a museum in it.
So, I want to take a pause right here because I just had an idea that I think you're going to enjoy.
Okay. This is
because
random. He's throwing this.
It is,
at
but
me.
it's also because it's 36 minutes in, and I want to see who's actually going to watch this 36 minutes.
Okay.
The first person who, I guess gets here, email us at bloodandwinepodcast@gmail.com with the phrase, I don't, what's a phrase?
I watched 36 minutes.
Okay, yes, with the phrase, I watched 36 minutes, and we will send you 5 of the Blood and Wine stickers for free, completely free. You can hand them out to family, friends, and stuff. You'll also still be getting your normal
Oh, yes,
one.
you will. If you're a Cabernet
Sauvignon convict. But if you are not a Cabernet
5 of
Sauvignon
them.
convict, and we'll send you 5 of them, first person who emails us, they've
just let
made
us
it
know.
to 36 minutes. So,
Yeah, I love it.
testing y'all.
I love it. All right, now talk about your
Yes.
true crime non-murder
So the kidnapping
murder case. Ooh,
Yep,
sorry, excuse me.
that took a hot minute. So mine was the kidnapping of Patty Hearst. So Patty Hearst was
crazy.
this heiress who, her father was a billionaire multimedia founder producer of the Hearst company or something like that. Hearst is like what it's known as.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's kidnapped by the Symbionese Liberation Army, which is just these very like radical people in the 70s that want to honestly, like some of their motives are good. They want to, as part of the the ransom, that's the word, they want her father and grandfather to feed, it's like 1 million homeless people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's part of the but she actually winds up becoming a victim of Stockholm syndrome and
Which is
becomes
crazy.
part of the army. And
She did.
this was
She did.
before Stockholm syndrome was really taken seriously and seen as a thing.
Yes.
And so when people saw her in the like promotional photos for them and hearing her be like, oh my God, yes, the Symbionese, the SLA is like super cool and I love it, I'm a part of it. That's how she talked. And, but it was insane.
Yeah.
And if you want to see I think it's really funny because I enjoy it. Because I like these videos. It's actually also really educational. Drunk History.
Oh, yeah, they did a good episode.
They did one that over the kidnapping of Patty Hearst. Kristen Wiig plays Patty Hearst. I don't know. It's really good. It's really interesting. I love Drunk History videos. So
I love Kristen
that's
Wiig.
honest. Same. I love Kristen Wiig. But anyways, yeah, that was our non-murdery true crime non-murder episode. We also, I'm wearing the shirt, so I cannot believe we forgot about it until right now. Or not
yes.
forgot about it, but
We weren't talking
we went
about
to
the
Bending
wine.
Branch.
We went to Bending Branch there in Comfort, Texas,
Which,
which was
y'all,
such a phenomenal experience.
Tonight, honey. is what I'm gonna say. This is one of their shirts. They're known for their Tannat grape, which
Yes.
is a French grape that in the U.S. is only grown in one place in California and Bending Branch in Texas, and it is fucking good.
It's so good. We have so many bottles still. A lot of them are Tyler's, so I'll hopefully he'll share with me.
Nope.
But I really want to
mine.
go back to that winery, and it was such a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
Favorite
But
winery
it's only
I've
2
ever
hours
been to
away,
in Texas.
which is really not far.
No, it's true.
For
It's true.
us in Texas.
Yeah.
2 hours, not a far drive. But yeah, incredible winery. If you are ever wanting to do wine tours or wine stuff and you're in Texas wine country in the Fredericksburg area, absolutely check out Bending Branch Winery.
Oh, yes.
So the one after this was our second discovery or investigation discovery partnership, Deadly Legacy.
And wow.
And in this one, Detective Moran, or Detective Sergeant Moran, who worked on is working
still
on the
currently working
John Wayne Gacy case and identifying the 6 remaining missing people or unidentified victims.
Yes.
And the special was absolutely heartbreaking.
It was so heartbreaking. It was a 3-part special. You can absolutely find it on the ID Go app. I highly recommend going and watching it. It just, the opportunity for us to talk to Detective Jason Moran, it made the John Wayne Gacy case even more real. Yeah. And it's one that both of us now know, unfortunately, way too much information about. But
that is, he is a serial killer that I will never be able to get out of my mind.
No.
That
and the things he did, but talking to Detective Sergeant Moran was, it was, I don't want to use the word wonderful, but that's the word that keeps coming to my head. But it just was so great to, hear his passion in solving these cases and everything he's doing and everything he's accomplished. And, I have such pride for,
same.
so proud of the people who do the things that they do that are so difficult.
It was very humbling.
Yes.
And then our final episode of 2018.
Oh my
episode
gosh.
33. Holiday Homicide. And this one, we wanted to do another special. We hadn't done one in a hot minute since Halloween. So and especially this episode came out on Christmas Day.
Yes.
Which, whether you celebrate Christmas or not, I'm like, okay, that's perfect.
We had to do something. That was, a Christmas theme.
So we went just a holiday murder theme. Yeah. And mine was the case of the Covina Massacre, which Bruce Jeffrey Pardo, he murdered his ex-wife, and so his ex-wife and her parents and their family was at her parents' house having Christmas, all hanging out. There was 18 of them, I believe. And just doing their thing.
Yep.
And having a great, I think it was Christmas Eve, just being together, having, eating food, having some drinks, playing, time. Kids in the back, playing video games. So Bruce walks up to the door, dressed as Santa, rings the doorbell. The 8-year-old niece answers it, and it's oh my God, it's Santa. Santa's here. He shoots her in the face and proceeds to gun down the family members and set the house on fire. He wound up killing, I believe, 9 of the family members of the Ortiz family, and just fuck. I mean,
yeah, it was very intense. And then mine was the Los Feliz Murder House, which is in LA, and Dr. Harold Perelson killed his entire family. No, I'm sorry. He killed his wife and tried to kill the rest of his family. I got it mixed up with Amityville because we just talked about that one a few episodes back. But so he kills his wife. He tries to kill his daughter. She escapes. She runs, gets the neighbors for help. And he ended up killing himself as well. And the reasoning is, potentially financial. We really aren't sure. But the house remained empty up until recently. And it was thought to be haunted, but it was left just as it was that night with all of their stuff still in the home. Even when there were other owners of the house, but they used it for storage. And
which is weird.
Still left the previous owner's things in there. So
I don't understand. When you buy a house for storage, you should buy a storage unit, or even like
not like $1 million or whatever-ish home,
or even buy a crappy home, like, and use that for storage. Like, if you are, don't do that. Just buy a storage unit.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that was the episode we used to close out 2018 and. 2019 has already started off with a bang, and we hope you guys are enjoying the episodes. Thank you again for all of your support.
Thank you so much.
Everything you do. We are so pumped to bring you another year of Blood and Wine. We're getting super close to that 1 year anniversary.
We're just a few months away, which is insane.
Yeah. So, but thank you all so much. We love you. We hope you enjoy it
so much.
Shoot us emails, bloodandwinepodcast@gmail.com.
Comment
we've
on
been
our
talking to a few
social
of y'all.
stuff.
We've
do
been
all the things.
We've been talking to a few of you with different topic ideas. You're sending us some really interesting cases that you know about. We love it. Send it to us and know that it's going on our list, and you're most likely going to hear it if we can find enough information. And a lot of you are sending us so much information that
I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna do this one. So
anyways, thank you so much. We love all of you guys.
XOXO.
Blood and Wine signing off.
Bye. We did this backwards again.
Bye.
Bye.